Hey, so welcome everyone, and this is going to be our first session on the agentic automation, where we will just touch base what actually the agentic landscape and what are the different life cycles we have, right? Because the agentic, when we say the agentic or the agentic automation, it's not only one. So we will be dealing with multiple life cycles because it involves multiple type of projects. Like not only alone the agents, like but we will be having agent flows or the RPAs or the apps, so whatever, right? So we will be having all these in place. So that's where we will be having multiple life cycles working together for the agentic automation. And so what we are going to cover is that we will be talking on the buzzwords, like all the buzzwords what we have and everyone is having. And then we will be having two main life cycles, like which we will be covering majorly here, and how you can put in front of your manager or the business stakeholders, like how the agentic automations can be adopted in an organization. So by looking at, but that's what you're going to get in today's session. And so let us see where the agentic AI sits, right? And how our thought process should be shifted from RPA to the agentic, right? So, so when we see um, the RPA, or the basic question is that like what actually the RPA and what process best fits for the RPA, right? So whenever we talk about what process step best suits for the RPA, always we used to say that rule-based, heavy, structured data, and all those things. So which means that like there will not be any intelligence, and it purely runs on the rule based, and whatever we have coded, it will just executes the same and in the same order all the time, right? And then we have the AI where it identifies the patterns, and it will get trained with a larger data set, and then it can work on non-rule based as well, right? But the AI involves, like for each task, you need to have one EM model created, right? Like let us assume that like if you are having four tasks, right? And for that, like you need to create four AI models. That's where the Gen AI came into the picture, that like it's a multi-purpose generative models, like where it can understand the context and then it can create the content, right? And it can create or it can handle multiple tasks with the same model. And then slowly we evolved into the AI agent, like which is nothing but like the powering up the Gen AI or the Gen AI models with the tools, so that like it can interact with the external applications. And then we are landed into the agentic AI, like where we will be having the multi-agent plus autonomy, like where we will be having the robots, agents, and human, all the three coming together to collaborate, or the completing of the complex automations or the business processes. That's where like the agentic AI came. That's where we call it as agentic automation as. So this is how the evaluation of an RPA to the agentic came. And if you remember, like when we are working on the RPA in the beginning days, like we used to implement the RPA processes, and the document understanding or the AI model flavors got introduced into the RPA and started calling it as an intelligent automation where like we can have some AI capabilities included as part of RPA, right? And those can be uh, those can be used for document data extraction or the pattern recognition, or like even we can make a call to the external APIs to take the decisions when it comes to the RPA to the intelligent automation. But now we are moving towards the agentic AI, right? Like where the agent itself will drive the automation, right? And it can interact with the external applications, and it can decide which application needs to be used and what time. So simple that we just need to make the change to our thought process itself. That like when if you are going with an RPA, then we will be looking at the rule based and the complete deterministic processor, and which are stable and the structured and no changes into that. And then we have the AI based process automations, like where we will be adding just an AI flavor to our automations. Whereas the agentic is something that like where we will be having the robots or the agents or the humans, and all these brought together to work on it. So whereas like when I say the human, it's going to be the human in loop. Like if you rem remember in the document understanding or when we are working with any AI models also, we want to validate whether the predictions are correct or not correct. And in the similar way, we need to have a human validation in place in between to validate whether the agents are working as expected or not, right? And so in the outside world, when you see um, the AI capabilities as part of your work or AI implementation. A lot of the organizations consider that like, hey, how the they can speed up the implementations, or how they can build the products very quick and ship them fast, right? But when you think in a perspective of the agentic process automation, we should never think on how much time is got reduced in terms of developing a process. We should always think that like, hey, which business process I can solve with the help of agent, right? And which business processes we could not able to consider for the RPA because it requires the decision making. So for all those things, we need to change our thought process, and we need to think big beyond the RPA. So here is the UiPath platform, like where we have it's a big ecosystem, where we have multiple products, like for the discover, build, operate, and the monitor. Like we have a lot of products, but I just pulled out only the build and monitor, which actually really helps as part of the agentic implementations. Of course, we have some other products also, even under the build category and even the monitor category. But these are the some products of UiPath platform where it actually helps us in terms of the agentic capabilities for the build and monitor. And we have the Studio Web, which will help us to build the agents, RPA flows, or the API flows, or the agentic processes as well, right? And the agent builder is part of the Studio Web, is one of the project type, which will help us to define the agent in the low code interface. And we have the context grounding and the memory, which is in the outside world, you might have heard of RAG, retrieval augmented generation, the same which is with a different name in UiPath as context grounding. And then we have the integration services, like where these actually connects to a different external applications. Like we have a lot of enterprise application connectors available in the UiPath ecosystem or the UiPath integration services. So we will be having all this as part of the build. And for monitoring, like we have the agents and the maestro, like where the agents are helpful to monitor the individual agents, like the health of the agent and the executions. And also we can provide the feedback to the agent executions, whatever happens in the production. And then we have the maestro where we can monitor or we can see the live execution traces for any of the agentic process which is built, like by orchestrating or the combining the agents or the robots or human. So when we say the agents or the robots or the human, it doesn't necessary to have all the three. So it all depends on your project and how we design. And then the most important for any of the agents and which actually answers a lot of questions, even to the business stakeholders, that the biggest question everyone will face from the business or the customer is that like, how can I trust your agent? Because the Gen AI can give wrong also. So I cannot hand over my sensitive automation or sensitive tasks to your agent because I cannot trust it. So how can you be sure that the agent is working as expected? So these are the couple of questions they will be having. And the agent evaluations is one of the pillar which will answer this question. Because the evaluation is nothing but, evaluations are nothing but the testing of the agent with different data inputs and validating whether the agent is working as expected or not. So it's more on testing of the agents, which is part of the agent evaluations, which we will be covering, of course. And then we have the AI trust layer, where you will be having the entire governance and the security of your agents, and the LLM calls will be managed and monitored through AI trust layer. Even if any sensitive information, if you are passing on to the LLM, that will be filtered out or replaced with some dummy data or the mock data, and then it will send it to the LLM models. So none of your sensitive information will be shared with the LLM, and it will be staying inside of your UiPath ecosystem. So the entire audit also can be carried out in the AI trust layer. So these are the different products of UiPath, which actually supports the UiPath agentic platform. So here are the life cycles which we have. There are three life cycles which I would like to call it out when it comes to the entire agentic process. So RPA development life cycle, and we have agentic automation life cycle, and then agent development life cycle. And in this, like one, a lot of you already knows it, because you already worked on the RPA and you already know what actually different steps you will be having in the RPA development life cycle. And to be very honest to everyone, in case if you are having the knowledge on your iPad, you can still continue with these sessions. But if you are completely coming from the zero, something where you may need to invest a lot of time to learn the UiPath in parallel with our course, and if not, it is not going to really help because the UiPath is going to be the basic fundamental. RPA is the fundamental or the base requirement what we should have. And uh, so that's where I'm assuming that like everyone is already aware of the RPA development life cycle. So how it actually works and how it actually um, what different stages you will be having and everything in detail. And now we have two more, which is the agentic automation life cycle and the agent development life cycle. So both looks to be in terms of listening or the sounding looks to be similar, but there is a lot of difference. Where the agentic automation life cycle refers to the end-to-end business process implementation design, where you may have multiple RPA processors, multiple agents, and everything is designed. And then we have the agent development life cycle as well, which is like when you have 4 to 5 agents as part of your big picture or the entire business process, then the individual development life cycle for each of the agents. So here is the agentic automation life cycle where initially we will be mapping the entire business process in a flow diagram or in the BPN format. And mostly this will be done by the business analysts or the business SMEs. And then we will be getting in the model itself to the architect in order to remodel that based on the complexity and the task and whatever the ownership responsibility matrix between the human, robot, and the agent. And then it will go for the implementation, like building each of these components, like if it is an agent, then building the agent. If it is an RPA, then building the RPA. So whatever we have, and then will be operate, which is like we will be deploying this. So implement will consider to be having both the build and the testing as well. And then we will be having the operate, like where we will be deploying it and we will be running in the instances and monitoring from the master. And while we are doing the monitoring, so we will be having the observability and a lot of other options as well, retrying the failed executions and all these things. And then we have the optimize, and optimize is like feedback based learning. Like we can provide the feedback to the feedback loop for the agents so that it will be keep getting improved. So obviously the model where the business analyst and the architect will work together, where the business analyst or the owners will create the draft BPMN form or the flow diagram, and then the architect will be taking care of splitting each of them into the proper task types and also properly defining the gateways and the boundaries. Okay, so next, we will be having the implementation, like each task will be implemented as an RPA or the human or any of the business rules. And then we have the operate and monitor, like where we will be deploying and then we will be monitoring them and whatever like the tasks or like in terms of like failures and everything can be retried or redeployed. Optimizing is that like we'll be continuously monitoring and we will be providing the feedback loop so that like the agents will keep getting improved. So now let us understand why we need to have the agent needs its own life cycle, right? Before going into the agent life cycles. So see, but even the software development also, we used to have the software development life cycle, but still there is something which has got evolved is the RPA development life cycle, right? So like the deterministic or the static or the code driven and all these things, right? So And these are the different what to say features of the traditional software development lifecycle, whereas the agents is completely different. Huh. So in the traditional development lifecycle, we have a clear specific output which we are expecting, and also it will be always the same unless the code is got changed. It will not change anything, and it is purely on based on the code and how the code quality can be measured, and uh, even the execution or static and everything like the defined outputs you'll be getting. When it comes to the agent, we doesn't have the deterministic output, like because the same agent may give you a different answer though your input is same all the time. So for example, right, if I'm just giving an input, uh, for example, 2 plus 2, it may give 4 as a number or 4 as a 4 or it can say, hey, the answer is 4. Or, hey, adding the two numbers like 2 plus 2 is going to be the 4. So even that way also it can return back. So we doesn't have, see, the intent will be same. The answer which we are getting from the agent, the intent will be same and the meaning will be same, but it might not be the exact words. And the traditional implementations, the RPA or the software, those are the outputs are going to be the static, always the same, and we can even predict them. And based on that, the testing can happen. But where it comes to the agents, the output is going to be, or the behavior is going to be the adaptive. So based on the feedback what we are providing, it changes. Whereas in the traditional implementations, you need to make the code change. And the traditional is the code driven, and the agents are going to be the outcome driven. So the code is working as expected or not, and the speed and the optimized way, and all these will be considered. Whereas in the agentic, we will see whether the agent is behaving as expected or not. So this is how uh, these two will be differentiated, right? And even the failure modes also. Um, in terms of like the software crashes, like will be having the traceabilities and all, and the agent actually provides the confidence and so we have the agent development life cycle where we will be defining the scope or the intent and the goal setting. Because, see, we need to set at the beginning itself that like what the agent should achieve and how the agent should behave. So it's not about after building the agent. And then we will be designing the agent. So for the agent, like we will be having three things. One is the brain, and the other is the knowledge, and the third one is the hands. So the brain is nothing but the large language model, which we are going to use as part of our agent. And the knowledge is nothing but the RAG or the context grounding, which we have, where we can supply some internal data. So why actually we require that is like because your model is trained with a large set of openly available data, and we need to have our company data. So it's nothing but that, like when you completed your graduation, you studied a lot. And then when you come to the organization, you'll be given with some documents to refer to specific to the project, right? So specific knowledge can be shared with the help of knowledge base. So the agent knowledge is going to be the RAG or the context grounding. And then hands to interact with the external world, right? At different applications or the external applications, we'll be having the RPA or the API or other workflows. So for every agent, we will be having all these three, the brain, knowledge, and hands. And then we will be, once the design is finalized, then we will be building it. So we call it as a rapid build, and then we have the evals where we will be testing the agent, and we will see like whether we are reaching the given goals and the KPIs in the stage one, right? And so this internal loop or the inner loop will keep continuing. And then we have the release and the observe. So release is nothing but the deploying of the agent. And then we will be continuously monitoring the agent and providing the feedback to uh, improve the agentic output. And whatever the executions are happened, those we can provide the feedback, or we can convert them even to the evaluations and then provide the feedback. So there are a lot of options to perform and improve the agent execution or the agent output post deployment. So the intent and the scoping is nothing but the defining of the goal and what the agent should do and what the human will be doing, and all these details will be finalized in the stage one itself. And then we will be designing the agent, which means that like we'll be considering which model to be used and how the knowledge needs to be submitted and what tools needs to be used, and also does it requires any guardrails. So the guardrails is nothing but the controllability over your agent. So if you want to have your agent controlled execution, then we will be having these guardrails, right? So this is where like where we will be getting the blueprint of an agent blueprint, and then implementation. So we are going to build the agent and the supporting automations, which it actually calls as. And then evaluation and tuning, like where we'll be defining the evaluation, which is nothing but the test data. And then we will be testing our agent in order to see whether the agent is working as expected or not. And it's not only the output quality or the output is working as expected. We will be looking at the quality of the output and the whether the security, because it should not emit any sensitive information onto the logs as well, because we will not have the control over the logs for the agent, right? And all this will be considered, and the fine tuning back onto the agent will happen while we are testing based on the output which we are getting. And then we will be releasing it for the production. And then from the production, we will be monitoring, and then we will be looping it back for the improvements for a feedback loop. So this is how the cycle will be nested. So if you see on the top, like we have the agentic automation lifecycle, where we have the model, implement, operate, monitor, and optimize. Under the implement, for each of the components, you may have the agent development lifecycle for agents, and then RPA lifecycle for each of the RPA processes. So this is how the entire life cycles nest looks like. So this is what actually we have covered in terms of buzzwords and also building the agents and what are the different life cycles and all. And we will be covering on the studio web for tomorrow, session 2. So we are open for the questions. I could able to see few in the chart. Let me see.
Hi, this is Arun.
Yeah.
So I have one basic doubt. So currently I'm working on UiPath from past like 7 to 8 years. Now
Mm-hmm.
organizations are turning towards this Gen AI and they're calling like building agents on like I mean to say open platform where
Mm-hmm.
it is like they're claiming it as a cost effective and more robust they can say they are claiming
Mm-hmm.
it not I don't say I didn't even feel that but yeah they are claiming it But how far we can see this UiPath agents working fine, or what is the success ratio, or how we can forecast? Because this is again a chargeable ones. Definitely UiPath, it is a license base, and also will there be any charge on this tokens that it is consuming, or how we need to project or
So,
make users again divert to UiPath?
see, obviously the UiPath license costs are going to be high, so that everyone knows. But at the same time, we need to see like what actually the additional features we are getting as. So if you're going with the larger data or larger processors, right? And if you see any of the other agents or the LLM models, it actually goes on a very expensive based on the number of tokens it is using. Whereas the UiPath is having the flat rate, irrespective of the model type, irrespective of the number of tokens it is consuming, it charges only based on the number of LLM calls. It's a flat pricing. So you'll be having the predictable cost, not like based on the input text, it will not change.
Any rough figures can you quote?
Rough figures in the sense?
I mean, how much each license it is costing, that flat rate, I mean to
Cost,
say.
sorry,
Yeah,
no,
cost.
no cost at all. No pricing details.
Okay,
But I
okay.
can say the consumption model is based on the number of the calls it is making to the LLM model. So it actually consumes the platform units. So in UiPath, we actually consume the platform units, and whatever we are using, it will be consumed from the platform units. So the platform units cost, you may need to reach out to the UiPath sales because it varies based on the partnership levels and the customer levels and the number of licenses you are purchasing. So those are not.
Okay, 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 got it.
Anyone else have any questions? Anything on the course or anything on today's session? Both works.
Hi, I have one question. I don't
Mhm.
know how much it is related to current topic. I just want to know whether it is a good practice or how, as a enterprise level, suppose say my agent means I want to loop over a transaction. How we do in RE framework. So can agent be able to do such things, or that the approach should be somewhat different for the agent?
Continue with
Means
your RE framework and call your agent inside of your process.yaml.
okay. So how it will be like a RPA workflow it will be, and inside that I'm calling a agent inside the process
Yeah,
ML, right?
yeah. It depends on your use case, right? If you want to go with that, you can go with that. Or else make your like based on the transactions you are getting, like in case if it is through an email, keep an event-based trigger to kick off your agent so that for every new email received, you'll be having a new job and it is going to be a sequence, looks like to be a sequential, but for every process, you'll be having the clean picture. So it depends
Oh,
on how your input and what is your use.
okay. And means agent means correct me if I'm wrong. I just want to know. Agenting solutions means like a one-stop solution for a process or business use case, right? Like it will include RPA workflow. It will include the agents, human in the loop, and they're arranging as per the use case, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's it from my end. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
One last question. So
Yeah.
we have this license sharings or anything, right? Let's say if I need 10 bots for my process, I need to procure 10 licenses and I need to run them at one go. Okay. Even now I'll be procuring 10, but can I share this whatever the AI part license, right? Can I share among these 10?
Sharing among the 10 means?
All the time it will not keep on hitting that AI agent, right? So that's why if I have three VDS or three service accounts, so can I call
Agent
one AI
execution.
agent in
Agent,
this three?
one second, hold on.
Sorry.
The agent execution will not happen on your VDIs. It actually runs on the agent service where the UiPath provides the Kubernetes just-in-time Linux VM or just-in-time serverless what UiPath is having, and it is going to run on the agent service, not on your VMs.
Yeah, I got that. So do I need to procure separate license for each service account?
For the agents, you will not be configuring the service accounts, right?
Okay,
Agent
I mean,
execution will be consumed from the uh, platform units.
okay, okay, okay. Now it makes sense. Got it. Sorry.
So you wanna know how far the RPA can change because of agentic? Do you think RPA still be the future because of AI integration? See, nothing will die. Everything we will be having, but we just need to keep the things getting added to our portfolio so that like we can be running in the market. So RPA will still exist, but having the agentic is going to be the advantage. So like even if you see a lot of the job openings right now, and if you're attending for them, then we have a lot of what we say the agentic is part of the JDs, and a lot of people are asking the interview questions. So of course, like the implementation slowly changes, but still it requires to build the RPA. Anyone else have any questions? Yeah, but
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
yes, you are.
Yeah. You said like we can call agents, right? In RPA workflows. Sorry, in the agent we can call RPA workflows, right? In the vice versa, we can also call the agents in normal RPA workflows.
Yes, yes, you can.
Oh, okay. And I also saw a couple of slides you mentioned. There is some keyword called BPMN. What is that BPMN?
That we are going to cover because that's where like we will be organizing our entire multi-agent orchestration. Uh, so the BPMN is the standard procedure for creating the flows.
You got it. And some other question like this is um, is this AI center is equal to Maestro or it is different? Because
No,
like
it is
both,
completely different.
okay, both of them are used to orchestrate, right? Okay.
See, AI center is that like to orchestrate or the manage your AI models, right? Like the specialized AI models. The Maestro is to orchestrate your agentic processes.
Okay, it is completely different. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm. What happens if we build an AI agent and it is not, it is not able to provide the answer to us. So what it will happen in that
Which
case?
which means like we haven't built properly. That's where like the evaluations comes into the picture, and we will be testing whether it is giving the right output or the correct behavior or not, and then we will fine tune it. So fine tuning in the sense modifying or tuning the prompts.
Can you say, as per the discussion, like all AI agents will work based on LLMs, right?
Yes.
If there is any issue with the LLM, how we need to handle?
If there is an issue with the LLM, let the agent get failed, and the next we can get the things retried again. Because when you say the issue in the sense like it can be a billing issue, or it can be a reach, the API issue, or it can be the server load from the API provider as well. right? So it's like similar to if I ask the question that in the RPA, if you are hitting an API and if it is failing, what we will do? We will retry. That's it.
Oh, retry. Thank you.
Yeah. So do we need a robot license and the platform unit both to run the agentic processes? See, it depends, right? For the agents, as part of your agentic process, consumes the platform units because it runs on the agent service. Whereas if you have an RPA workflows, which may need to run on your um, local machine, in case if it is required, then you need to have the robot license. Even your automations, what you are going to build, if you're building it as a cross platform, that doesn't require the robot or on-prem robot for you. And that also can go on the serverless. So in such scenarios, the entire licensing will be consumed from the platform units. So when I say the agent service, the execution environment for the agent provided by the UiPath. So example is nothing but instead the agent getting executed on your environment, it actually get executed over the in-time virtual machines provided by the UiPath itself, and we will get the agent execution completed. Any more questions, guys? Um, so instead of assuming it as an orchestrator, right, like the agent service, you can consider it as an serverless execution. Okay. If no one have any questions, then we'll see you in the next session, guys. And Kiran will be updating on it. So there is one more additional question I got. Once we create the agent in the studio web, can we run on them? No, as of now, the agent executions are not supported on the on-prem. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next session, and the Kiran will be updating, posting on it. Thanks.